The NHS is the biggest employer in the UK and more LGBTQ staff work for it than any other organisation.
Philosophy has it that great people are not born great, they become great. And they become great by thoughts, deeds and actions, often at a cost to themselves. This year, our country has come to recast what great is. A footballer? Maybe. An actor? Perhaps. A politician? On occasions. But this year's great is something else. The supermarket shelf stackers that kept you fed while isolating at home, or neighbours you'd never spoken to that fetched and carried for you and others. And those that work in the National Health Service, our NHS. For the purposes of tonight, we'd rather not mention COVID-19. Just look how last year 19 sounds. But how can we not, when so many have sacrificed so much for the benefit of all of us? And will continue to do so over the coming months. Our LGBTQ+ community is just as likely as anyone else to give to or ask from the NHS in the course of this pandemic. But as well as our rainbow, we've sent our people to the front line too, and not all have come back. And so I'm proud, as part of that NHS family, to invite some of the staff from St Mary's Hospital in Paddington to collect on behalf of all of our NHS LGBTQ+ family, our first ever Attitude Community Award.
2020 has been an incredible year for the National Health Service. The NHS is the biggest employer in the UK and more LGBTQ staff work for it than any other organisation. On behalf of the staff at St Mary's Hospital, Imperial College Healthcare and the entire NHS, and particularly the LGBTQ staff, we just want to say thank you. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ange. Hit like and subscribe to see more from Attitude.